Hello and welcome to the JSA studio. I'm your host, as always, Nathan, and today I'm coming at you with my reaction to week 5 of college football. Obviously, we're going to go team by team inside the Big Ten, as well as talk about a couple of things outside the conference. But before we get into all of that, I am at this point going to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help out the channel and my goal to get to 750 subscribers, of which I'm only 5 away of the time of this recording. So if you went ahead and subscribed, it would really help me out. And now, with the intro done and out of the way, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to get started by starting with the teams that had a bye week this past week. And, of course, there were 6 teams on the bye this week: Wisconsin, Purdue, Michigan State, Maryland, Nebraska, and your favorite, the Michigan Wolverines. Now, of these 6 teams, I don't have anything to talk about legitimately. Okay, I think Wisconsin and Purdue are kind of bad. I think Maryland is middle of the road, and I think Nebraska, Michigan, and Michigan State are various levels of good. Probably in Michigan State, Nebraska, and then Michigan at the top because Michigan did beat Nebraska, but I don't have a whole lot. I'm going to talk about Michigan a lot on Wednesday. Okay, so subscribe for that. We're going to do a Bryce Underwood film breakdown, but can't do that right now. We're going to be reacting to week 5. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first tier of my college Big Ten, rather, my Big Ten teams. First tier of my Big Ten teams for this week. And that first tier is, in fact, the Scarlett Johansson tier. Why is it called the Scarlett Johansson tier? That's a good question. I'll tell you why. It's because these teams this week look pretty. And those 5 teams in the Scarlett Johansson tier this week are Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Iowa, even though they lost, and Illinois. Now, let's go ahead and work left to right, top to bottom here. We'll start with Ohio State, okay? Ohio State handled business against Washington, all right? But I thought that game was going to be, kind of a slugfest. I think Washington is a very good football team. I thought they were going to be able to move the ball a little bit more effectively against Ohio State than they did. Now, obviously, they had that horrible fake field goal. They should have just kicked the field goal. But they also couldn't get into the end zone. They got into field goal range at least 3 times. I think maybe 4 times as well. They really had opportunity to score and just couldn't do it. They just couldn't execute once they got into Ohio State territory. So, yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back and watch the film a little bit more closely, which I'm not going to do because I don't have time. But Ohio State won that game in a convincing fashion, at least in my opinion. So I think they deserve to be here in the Scarlett Johansson tier because they looked pretty. And I mean that. That is a dominant football team right now. Big time. I think there's a very significant possibility that they're going to cruise to 12-0. A very, very significant possibility. All right. Oregon, obviously, they had the big game this week matching up against Penn State and James Franklin. I don't even really think it was his fault or anybody's fault, really. I know that people have been shitting on Drew Allar for that interception, and we'll talk about Penn State in a little bit more detail later. But that was an incredible play. I used it for the thumbnail. That was just an incredible play by the defensive back. What was his name? I don't remember. Thieneman? Is that his name? I think that's his name. Anyway, I believe that Oregon won that game. I don't think Penn State lost it, so to speak. When a lot of time Penn State loses these big kind of games. Either way, Penn State is not the team that a lot of people thought they were coming into this year. I was a little bit lower on them than a lot of people, but they're probably even lower than what my expectations were. I think Penn State's going to end up 10-2. Simply because they only play 2 really solid teams this year, with Ohio State later on in the year, and Oregon here, so they lose that game. I just Oregon. Let's get back on track here. Oregon, to me, has a potential first-round pick at quarterback. Don't know if he leaves this year. I think it might. I think there's a possibility that would be a mistake for Dante Moore to leave this year for Oregon. Okay, I think their defense, specifically the defensive line, who played great against Penn State. I think there's a significant possibility that Dante Moore is going to come back next year. Okay, if he doesn't, there's a significant possibility that Cal's quarterback, who actually committed and signed to Oregon, would then just transfer to Oregon anyway, and then you have another first-round, number 1 overall type pick quarterback sort of situation there. So I don't know, but that's obviously a big question mark. You don't know that Juwan, what's his name? I can't pronounce his name anyway. The quarterback from Cal, you don't actually know if he's going to transfer to Oregon or not. So, like, you got to do what you got to do. Nevertheless, Oregon won this game. I thought they played very, very well. Dante Moore got better as the game went on. Didn't make the big mistake Drew Allard did. It's pretty much that simple. Moving on to Indiana. Indiana, excuse me. Indiana had its first real test this week here, in terms of, not necessarily in terms of talent, because Illinois is a good team and a talented team, but in terms of actually getting tested. Okay, Iowa pushed Iowa pushed Indiana to the brink in this game. Now, ultimately, Indiana made the plays to win the game, and Iowa didn't. If Gornokowski, the quarterback, doesn't get hurt, does Indiana win this game? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's going to be a big what if. And obviously, we don't know if he's healthy or not. If he's not healthy, your season's probably done. But if he can come back, this is a significantly better team than what I thought it was going to be this year. I did not particularly like Iowa coming into this year a lot. You can go back to my rankings where I ranked them 13th in the Big Ten last week. I didn't think they were a good football team. But yeah, anyway, wow. They played phenomenally. They played like they deserved to be on the same field with legitimately a top 10 team in the country with Indiana. So, yeah, big time. Love that for Iowa. But when it comes down to it, Indiana made the play. Mendoza looked really, really good. He's getting talked about in the first round, potentially number 1 overall. I haven't looked at him close enough to really have an opinion on that. That'll be something I'll do later on, maybe. But yeah, this right here was a heck of a game. I loved watching that game. It was physical, great defense was being played, grit everywhere. Loved watching that game. Okay, and another game that I really, really liked watching was Illinois versus USC, and because Illinois had their soul snatched from them against Indiana last week. And boy, they responded. That's what real programs do. If you get your ass beat like that, you come back the next week and you win a game against a team that you probably shouldn't have beaten, okay? I think specifically the Illinois defense played really, really well against USC, all right? USC has problems defensively. Okay, I get that. Experienced on at the quarterback position on the offense, but it's not like Illinois has barn burners at the wide receiver position. They did last year, but they don't this year. Okay, all of these things that went well in that game, but even more so than that, they were down by a point late. They drove down the field and kicked the field goal to win the game. They responded time and time and time again, and that's what good football teams do. And Illinois is a good football team. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to the treading water tier. This is the tier of teams that did not make a strong impression on me, or my opinion has not particularly changed on them. Okay. Northwestern would be a team that did not make a strong impression on me. Okay. I thought they should have beat UCLA by more than 3 points. Okay. I think they won 21-24, I think. Because UCLA is awful. They legitimately might go 0-12 this year. They're bad. Like, capital B, capital A, capital D, bad. All right. So only beating them by 3 points. That's, I mean, you know, you're capital B, capital A bad, but maybe not the capital D at the end there. Okay. That game was concerning. All right, especially if you're a Northwestern fan. I'm not, but it is what it is. USC, my opinion on USC has not changed. I think they're a quality team. I think they're there with Michigan and Nebraska and Illinois and potentially maybe Iowa now that are in that tier below the true, honest to God top 4 teams that are probably going to make the playoffs. So, yeah. I don't know, but my opinion hasn't really changed. When we get to the rankings of the Big Ten teams later on, okay, they're going to move down a little bit, but I still think they're a high-quality football team. I really do. Minnesota's in the same boat. They won the game. They beat Rutgers. They won in just about the way I expected them to win, okay? I'm still not sure that's a team that's going to make a bowl game, but they did win. They did beat Rutgers. So I think that counts for something. I've got them in the treading water tier here. Next tier up is pretty self-explanatory tier. This is the ass tier. These are the teams that are ass, or at least played like ass this past week. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up here, actually, because I already kind of talked about Washington here a little bit. They had opportunities, they couldn't capitalize, okay? I like Washington a lot. They're obviously a better team than they were last year. I don't think they're going to lose their quarterback. Now, they're probably going to lose their wide receiver 1 and their running back 1, okay? But if they can replace that and get some teams here, players that can make plays going for next season, I don't know. They might be a sneaky kind of team next year in the Big Ten. Either way, I think Jedd Fisch is a good coach. I think this team is on the precipice of being very good. Right now, I think they're good. I think they're on the precipice of being very good. And maybe if they get their shit together here a little bit, they can be very good this year, all right? But when it came down to it in this game against Ohio State, they were overmatched. Coaching, on the field, offensive line versus defense line, it was no shot. It's just no shot. So yeah, that's, you know, just, it is what it is for Washington. I would have liked to have seen them win because I'm a Michigan fan. I want Ohio State to lose every week, but that didn't happen. I'm also not a loser about it that's going to get mad at you because you didn't beat a incredible, legitimately maybe the best team in the country, Ohio State team. So, yeah. Anyway, UCLA here showed some fight, came back against Northwestern in the second half, looked much better. Didn't mean shit though. You're still ass. You're very likely. There's a significant possibility you are not winning a game this year. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, ass, you really should be in the next tier, not this tier, but I like to only put one team in the next tier every week, okay? And we'll get to them in a minute. Rutgers here, man. God, I have a soft spot for Rutgers, and I don't really know why. They're just like a little like puppy that got like thrown out of their master's house or some shit, their owner's house. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh man, now it's like a street dog, and you just want to like take care of it, but also you live in a rent-controlled building that doesn't allow pets, so you can't really do anything about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, Rutgers again showed some fight. I think it was closer than a lot of people expected it to be with Minnesota, but also at the same time, they didn't win. So like it's the same thing with Iowa. In that first half, I was like, "Oh shit, is Rutgers good? Are they gonna get to like 7-5, maybe 8-4 even? That could be awesome." Nope, it's not what this team's gonna be this year. They're 3-2 right now, really with a difficult path to get to a bowl game. Maybe they can do it, maybe they can't. I don't know, but the path is not clear for Rutgers to a bowl game. They're going to have to win some close games. All right. Moving on now to my last tier for the Big Ten. And, of course, that last tier is, in fact, the Super S tier, inhabited only by the Penn State Nittany Lions this week. Really, it should just be James Franklin. I should have just put a picture of James Franklin's fucking face on here. But I didn't do that. All right. Yeah, it never fails. It never fails. Penn State versus a top 10 team. Never fails. They're going to lose. Always and for forever. All right. As long as James Franklin is there. Once James Franklin leaves, maybe Penn State can be something more. Maybe they'll be worse, or maybe they'll be exactly the same, and it's not a James Franklin curse, it's a Penn State curse. Maybe James Franklin is the new head coach for Florida, because Billy Napier ain't fucking or being around this year. They're going to lose to, who do they play this week? Do they play Oklahoma this week? I don't remember. But, if they lose another game or two, they're going to fucking fire Billy Napier probably. Now, I'm not big on firing coaches mid-season in general, really at any level. I think you should probably just wait and do it at the end of the year. But Billy Napier will not be the head coach of Florida next year. It's just not going to happen. Flat out and straight up, it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, got that going for him. But to get back on topic here, I was flipping between Penn State and Georgia, Alabama, specifically here, those two games, because those were the two biggest games of the week. More interested in this game than I was Georgia, Alabama, but you had it. Oregon fights back. Overtime. You score. Oregon scores. Oregon scores again. Makes the 2-point conversion. Now, or doesn't make the 2-point conversion, rather. Now, you got a chance to win the game. First play, honestly, a pretty good play call. Wasn't even that bad of a throw by Drew Allar. That kid just went up in the air and grabbed it. Like that was just such an excellent play. Like, I'm not even mad at Drew Allar. Like, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people that are mad at Drew Allar, but like, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think there's a significant possibility, especially if a couple of people stay behind, like Dante Moore, I was talking about earlier, that he's going to be a first-round pick because he's got the arm talent. He can move around a little bit. Better coaching, better talent around him in the NFL. I think he can be an effective quarterback in the NFL, but that's just me, all right? And what do I know? I'm just some asshole on the internet. That's kind of the whole fucking point. Anyway, you're in the super ass tier because you just keep fucking losing. Anytime you play a team with a pulse, you fucking lose. And it's absurd. It's actually crazy. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what else to say. Because, like, I can go into the minutia of the game and what happened here and what happened there. And if you get a break here and you get a break there. But, like, what's the fucking point? You can go back and do that with every goddamn game. We can go back to Ohio State last year. And if we do that, we go back to Ohio State last year. You had that fucking crazy-ass touchdown that was actually an interception in the end zone. And, like, that was crazy. That's not something that happens to normal programs, but it fucking happens to you. You got JT Tuimoloau picking off 2 passes in a game and having like 5 sacks and being unstoppable when in every other game of his career he wasn't very good. Like, he was all right, but he wasn't good. So, yeah. I don't fucking know. But, like, this is crazy at this point that all this wacky shit just keeps on happening to Penn State. Anyway, we're going to talk about some stuff in other conferences outside of the Big Ten here. That's coming up next. Pretty quickly here, I'm going to go through some of the big events outside of the Big Ten here. Obviously, maybe the biggest one, Alabama beat Georgia. And even though I predicted it to happen, I was kind of very openly rooting for Georgia to win that game, because winning that game likely eliminates Alabama from playoff contention, okay? Especially with Florida State then losing, in which case Alabama would have a loss to a very good undefeated Georgia team and a loss to a Florida State team that might not be as good as we thought they were, okay? Effectively, I don't got anything against Alabama, but effectively speaking, that would have eliminated a team from the SEC from the playoffs, okay? And that's what we need, because right now, the whole playoff field is fucking Big Ten and SEC teams, okay? Trying to finagle as many 3-loss SEC teams as possible, okay? So that we can get that 4th Big Ten team in, whether that's Michigan or Indiana or somebody else. I'm not sure, but, it's whatever. Anyway, Florida State losing to Virginia, okay? Virginia's not a bad football team. I thought they were going to go 8-4 this year, I think is what I predicted for them. So I really like the head coach there, Tony Elliott, I think is his name. Really like him, okay? And they had a program building win this week against Florida State. And Florida State, I think, got caught looking ahead to the biggest game of their season against Miami. I think it happens sometimes, all right? Now, bad news for Florida State. When you get caught looking ahead, the game you are looking ahead to will be close, but you will also lose. Okay? Like every time. Oh, people thought, Florida was just looking ahead to Miami, so they're going to fight against Miami and beat Miami. No, they fucking did. They kept it close for a while, and then they lost. So, yeah, I don't particularly see Florida State winning next week, but that's just me. Virginia, big win for them. They're ranked in the AP. They may or may not be ranked in my rankings. We'll get to that in a minute. But high quality win. Ole Miss making a statement against what we now probably understand is an overrated LSU team. With Garrett Nussmeier's got to be hurt, right? Like, the way he's throwing the ball to me just says, this guy's hurt. All right, he had a leg injury, I believe, either in the offseason or early on this season. I'm not sure, but he's got a leg injury, and that's really, really affecting him right now. So LSU, maybe the biggest loser of the week. Again, we'll get to my rankings here in a moment to talk about them maybe a little bit more. But Ole Miss, big win, fantastic team. They got a Michigan player, not like a former Michigan player, but a player from the state of Michigan starting at quarterback. So I am all about that. Ole Miss is my official bandwagon team outside of Michigan that I'll root for on a weekly basis. Love Ole Miss this year. All right, moving on now. We've got my power rankings for the Big Ten. And that power ranking here remaining unchanged in the top 2 spots. Oregon number 1, Ohio State number 2. Number 3, Indiana. I have swapped Indiana and Penn State. Penn State is at number 4. Okay? I think this is a hard cutoff after number 4 to the next group of teams, where there's probably a little bit softer of a cutoff after Iowa. Okay? So, all things considered, I think Indiana might damn well beat Penn State. Genuinely. I think they play this year. Let me double check that real quick. Indiana versus Penn State. All right. Yeah, they play November 8th. They do play. That game is probably going to decide if Penn State or Indiana makes the playoffs. Okay? Because they're probably going to, Penn State, that is probably going to lose to Ohio State, and then they play Indiana at home the week after that. If Indiana can win that game, Penn State's not making the playoffs. Indiana's a lock, an absolute lock to make the playoffs if that happens, okay? They've got Michigan State. Yeah, Indiana has as their schedule for the rest of the year. Oregon, probably a loss. Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, probably W's. Penn State now has moved into 50-50 game territory. Then Wisconsin, Purdue probably should be W. So I think Indiana's floor right now is probably 10-2. Okay, Oregon is going to get tested. Okay, I'll look more at that later on in the week. But for right now, that's a tough game to look at. And a 10-2 Indiana team whose only losses are to Oregon and Penn State probably makes the playoffs, even if Penn State is 10-2 as well. That could be the pathway to getting 4 teams into the playoff for the Big Ten. The other crazy thing is Nebraska could damn well end up 10-2 as well. And Michigan could damn well end up 10-2 as well. And I don't know about Illinois, but I can look at Illinois' schedule here in a second. Illinois could damn well end up 10-2 as well. Okay, they play Purdue, Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. There could be legitimately, I don't know, 5 or 6 different teams in the Big Ten that go 10-2. Is that going to happen? No. Okay, but it could. There's a definitive possibility that it could. I don't really know what USC looks like here, but USC could also hypothetically go 10-2. This is a crazy kind of game here. There could legitimately be, there's a for real possibility. I can't believe I'm just realizing this right now. There's a real possibility that the Big Ten could have 6 teams go 10-2. Okay, USC is not one of those teams. They I believe have a bye week this week. Then they play Michigan. Now that's a game USC could win, especially coming off of a close loss against Illinois. Then a bye week, and then Michigan. That could be a statement kind of program building win for USC. Okay, absolutely 50-50 game. USC can win that game. Then play Notre Dame. I would not pick them to beat Notre Dame. Nebraska, 50-50 type game. Northwestern, probably W. Iowa might be a 50-50 game. Oregon, probably a loss. You should beat UCLA. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a real chance that the Big Ten could have 6 10-2 teams this year. I can't believe I just noticed that now. I've wasted fucking 4.5 minutes talking about that instead of doing what I was supposed to do, which is power rank these teams. But Jesus Christ, that's crazy. There is a real possibility that the Big Ten could have 6 10-2 teams vying for playoff spots. That's fucking crazy, dog. That's insane. Anyway, I got Michigan at 5. They stay pat. They didn't have any new information. Illinois, I put them up 2 games. USC, or 2 spots. USC down 1. Nebraska down 1 because I had to move Illinois up. Iowa, even though they lost, moved up 4 spots. I had them at 13. Okay. I got Michigan State at 10. I got Washington at 11, down 2 spots. Maryland at 12, down 1 spot. Minnesota at 13, up 1 spot. Rutgers down 2 to 14. Northwestern up 2 to 15. Purdue down 1. Wisconsin down 1. UCLA stands pat at where they will most likely be the entire year as 18, the worst team in the Big Ten. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to my national top 25 rankings here. At number 25 here on this list, I really had a hard time choosing between Virginia and Illinois. So you can consider Virginia the 26th team in the others receiving votes category. But I decided to go with Illinois largely because of my Big Ten bias. They're up from not being ranked on this list last week. At number 24, up one spot, I have BYU. Number 23, up one spot, I have Utah. Number 22, Vanderbilt, unchanged. Sliding down, what I believe is the biggest slide this week. Yes, by far the biggest slide this week. Maybe the biggest slide in the history of my list of doing top 25s. I'm not sure. I only did them last year. I didn't do them the year before that. Anyway, 15 spots sliding down. LSU at 21. Still seem like a solid team with an elite defense, but not that good. Number 20, I have Notre Dame. I don't know what to tell you. That's a high quality team with 2 one-score losses to teams that I have ranked in the top 5. Sorry, dog. I don't know what to tell you. There's a real chance Notre Dame's just an elite football team this year. If they go 10-2, there's a real possibility they're going to make the goddamn playoffs. Anyway, 19, I got Missouri up one spot. 18, Tennessee up one spot. Michigan at 17 stands pat there. Now, we move on to 16 through 9. At number 16, I have USF. They have not changed their spottage. Neither has Texas at 15. They stand pat. USF and Texas both have bye weeks, as did Michigan, so they kind of just stand there. Anyway, there was a lot of reshuffling here between this tier and the tier above them. Georgia Tech down one spot. Florida State down 5. Penn State down 5. Iowa State up 1. Georgia down 7. Texas Tech up 2. Okay. Also, I didn't talk about this because I forgot to at the beginning of this. This is a deserving ranking, not necessarily who I think would beat who. Okay. Texas Tech right now undefeated, quality wins. They deserve to be number 9. All right. And finally, we have the top 8. I got Alabama at 8. Indiana at 7. I got Ole Miss at 6. Texas A&M at 5, up 4 spots. Ole Miss up 12 spots, by the way, which again might be the biggest jump in the history of my doing these polls here. Oklahoma at 4, largely because they had a bye week and I had to move somebody up. And a healthy Oklahoma team, in my opinion, beats a healthy Texas A&M team. Now, Oklahoma doesn't have a healthy team. Their starting quarterback's hurt. Don't know what their schedule looks like, but they're probably going to be losing a lot, I imagine. Unless they got some fucking kid that they've had 2 weeks now to prepare for, game plan for. Unless they got some 5-star QB commit that I don't fucking know about. Real possibility. Very real possibility. Anyway, I got Miami down 2 spots from number 1 to number 3, largely just because Ohio State had a quality win. Oregon had, so far, the best win of the season against Penn State. They're up to number 1. Ohio State stands pat at number 2. And that is all that I have for you today. And it's at this point that I'd like to remind you to like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and if you disagree with me at any point, or you just have something to say, go ahead and drop a comment down in the comment section below. And now with the outro done and out of the way, there's only one thing left to say, and that is that I'll see you next time.